Hi, everybody. Mr. Wildcat back. Hope you had a wonderful day today. We're going to be taking a break from Married Children for a little bit, and today we're going to be covering another game show review. Now, we wind up doing Concentration, the longest running game show to come out of NBC. We did that back in March to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the last episode to air on the original NBC daytime version. Today, we're going to be covering another game show. Um, Most of you probably have not heard of it, so I'm probably going to have to discuss it. It's a little bit before my time, too. So, I have seen an episode or two of this online. So, basically, and it's something, unfortunately, you'll never see on Game Show Network or Buzzer, and I'm going to explain why later on in this video. In fact, the day that this video is hitting the air marks 10 years from some shocking news that was made regarding the show. Okay? So, sit back and we'll dive into all that. So today we are going to be reviewing a classic game show hosted by Bob Eubanks in the 1980s called Dream House. Okay, it's one of those trivia shows, and unfortunately, Bob Eubanks he did not like hosting game. He did not like doing like trivia game shows. He liked doing the stuff that he liked doing like fun shows such as the Newlywed Game. That was the one that really sparked his interest. But of course, he did a nice job doing this one too. So, Dream House. So, Dream House originally aired in the 1960s, running from March 27th, 1968 through January 2nd of 1970 with a daytime and primetime version. Okay, the one we're doing today is the NBC daytime version or the revival that wind up airing from April 4th, 1983 through June 29th, 1984, so just over a year. And there was a total of 395 episodes that were made of this show. Okay? So basically, this was a game show that basically consisted of two teams of two, usually married couples. Okay? One of the teams was usually a returning champion who competed, and then the other one was a challenging couple that would be called at random from the studio audience. Okay, these two couples would compete against each other to win a house worth approximately $100,000. Now, from what I've read, many of most of the houses, if not all of them, they rounded up they that were up for grabs on this show. They wound up coming from out of one of two developments. Okay, one was out in Southern California, and the other one was out in Florida. So unfortunately, it put a little restriction on like on recruiting contestants for this particular show. So you basically either had to live in California or Florida, or had plans on relocating if you won a house. So the dream house that they guys were playing for was worth approximately $100,000, which in today's figures, it would be a hell of a lot more than that. Cause good luck trying to find a house worth $100,000 these days. Okay. But anyway, we started off. Okay. So basically, the couples were introduced, and then the guy who had the keys to the dream house, Bob Eubanks, was introduced. Okay. So Bob wound up reading a true-false toss-up question to start up the game and was open to all four players. Correct answer gave the couple $50 and their choice of four categories. An incorrect answer gave the $50 and control of the board to their opponents. Okay, four different categories were played in the first round, and they picked one, and those in control would get to pick one of the four categories. Okay, so each category featured a multiple choice question with three possible answers. The couple in control, they wound up giving their answer, and the opponents, they had the option to challenge. If they wanted to challenge, they could do so and select a different answer. The couple with the right answer wound up winning $100, or in the event of an unsuccessful challenge, got $150. Okay. Each team could challenge twice during each individual round. Once the category was played, it was removed from the board. A new toss-up question was asked, and the round continued until all four categories were used up. All right. Going then we wind up going into round two. So the game was consisted of two rounds. We talked about the first round already, and then we had a second round. So the couple who had the lead after the first round usually won a prize. Okay. The second round was played the same as the first, except each team had a one-time opportunity to double the value of the question before the question was asked. Answered correctly, you got the double the dollar values. Otherwise, if the couples if the other couple they challenged and it was for a double, they could have won that extra money as well. Okay. The couple who led after two rounds won the game. They received a room full of furniture and advanced to the bonus round. Okay. Couples kept whatever cash and prizes they earned throughout the game, whether they won or lost. Okay. In the case of a tie, one more true/false toss-up question was asked in order to break the tie. During the show's 15-month run on NBC, special weeks were set aside for siblings, single couples with children, and also engaged couples. There is also a week in November of 1983 where the cast of Different Strokes played for a designated couple, as well as one from May 1984, in which two different celebrity teams played for charity each day. Now, I know that one of those celebrity teams that played for charity in '84 was Pat Sajak and Vanna White from Wheel of Fortune, because I remember seeing clips of them on a celebrity edition of Dream House. Okay. So in April of 1984, which was about 3 months before the show came to an end, they wound up making some rule changes to the game. So the changes that they were made, so basically the couple in control were now required to hit their plunger to determine the question value displayed on a money machine. A random light that stopped at either 50, 100, or $150. The amount could also be accompanied with a prize, which awarded a bonus prize to the team who correctly answered the question, or there was also a turnover spot on the money machine as well, which basically automatically gave control of the question to the opposing team. In the second round, a number off space was added to the machine, allowing the team with the correct answer to remove one extra number from the combination lock if they made it to the bonus round, which I will explain in just a moment. If the winning team led anywhere from $500 to $950 after the second round, they originally received the prize, but it was later changed to a $500 bonus. However, if the winning team they beat their opponents by $1,000 or more, they usually got a car. Okay. No double option value was available in round two for this for the revisions, unlike the original rules. All right. So then we head into the bonus round. Okay. The combination lock to open up the dream house. Okay. Now there's different tiles and stuff on the board. So there's 3 rows of there's like 4 tiles per individual row and stacked in 3 different rows. So the combination to open up the golden doors and to win the dream house came from a set of 3 numbers. One number from the top row, one number from the middle row, one number from the bottom row. Okay? And like I said before, each row had 4 possible digits. Okay? So it was a very strong. So it was a pretty challenging combination there. So let's see. Couple was given an opportunity to remove incorrect digits. Let's see. The lock displayed 3 rows of 4 digits each, and the correct combination consisted of 1 digit from each row. Okay, they were given opportunities to remove incorrect digits before selecting their combination. Okay. Now, originally, each day a couple reached the bonus round, one incorrect digit was automatically removed from the lock, following the sequence of top, middle, bottom. A later rule change removed 1 digit for each time that they returned to the game, which basically deprived them of having one eliminated on their first day. A couple could also have a digit removed if they also landed a number off on the money machine, once the format of the front game was changed. So when the change when the rules were changed, the only way a couple could have a number removed automatically on their first trip to the bonus round was if they landed on that number off spot on the money machine during the game. Okay. So after the initial removal of digits, the couple chose one of three categories to answer questions from. So each category had three answers. Three questions. Each question had two possible answers. One of them was right and one of them was wrong. The first question corresponded to the top row, where if you answered the question correctly, automatically removed one incorrect digit from the top row, and if you answered incorrectly, then nothing else got removed. Second question was for the middle row. Answer question correctly here, one digit comes off the board for the middle row. Answer incorrectly, it stays on there. Third question was for the bottom row. Answer correctly, one number comes off. Answer incorrectly, nothing comes off. And then for the moment of truth, they basically got to choose their combination after that point. So basically, you chose a number from the top, da, da, a number from the middle, da, da, and a number from the bottom, da, da. So basically, once they had selected their three-digit combination, it was locked into the computers and it could not be changed. As Bob Eubanks would remind the couple every time that they played with the bonus round. And as soon as they locked in the combination, they would be given the gecko to hit the time release bar, and once it did, we would find out whether or not their selected combination was correct. And if it was, it would open up the golden doors, and they would win their dream house. So hit the time release bar. All right. If they did not win, it would go dut 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 dut. Ah. And then Bob would basically reveal what the winning combination was. And then the couple would return the next day for another shot at the golden doors. However, if it was correct, it would be dut 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 dut. Then the top bar would light up and the golden doors would open. Yeah! And then Bob would shout, "You have just won your dream house!" All right. So champions return to face the golden doors each day until either programming the winning combination or won enough games to automatically win the house. All right. 7 victories were initially required to win the house when the show first started, and then it was later lowered to 5, and then by the end of the show's run, it was moved up to 6. In a match where a couple was in a position to win the house, if they won the main game, a plunger, alternatively called the Golden Circuit Breaker, and a hotline switch were brought out at the beginning of the second round. If the couple had won, the plunger was pushed after the match and the golden doors automatically open. A couple that won the house either by guessing the combination or winning the required number of games retired undefeated, and 2 new couples competed on the next show. Okay? So, there was a pilot that wound up they shot 2 months prior to the show hitting the air on February 2nd, 1983, and it had a couple of differences. So, Johnny Gilbert, who is best known for being the longtime announcer for the game show Jeopardy, all right, he's been announcing Jeopardy ever since Alex Trebek started hosting in 1984. He's also announced a wide variety of other game shows in the past, including Supermarket Sweep, the $2,500,000 Pyramid, and of course this show as well. Rod Roddy basically was the announcer for the pilot. He basically would describe the houses the couples would be playing for during the opening intro instead of after, um, and it was not done. But then once the show first hit the air, it was changed to where it was introduced after Bob came on the show. To end the first round, a couple had to score $350 or more. That team wound up winning the trip, which in the pilot was a case to the Bahamas. It was a trip to the Bahamas. Okay. Couple had to score $750 or more to win the game and the room of furniture. In the bonus round, the couple was shown three answers to an opinion related question, each having a different rank. If the third most popular answer was picked, they would have the third best possible odds of opening a house. Likewise, the second most popular would have the second best odds, and the top answer would have the best odds. By picking the top answer, you wind up winning a $1,000 bonus. Second best answer gets you $500, and the third got you $250. There were no lights around the doors for the pilots. Once the time release bar was pressed, it simply opened if the combination was correct. Okay? So, let's see, we've already talked. During the show's 15-month NBC run, special weeks were set aside for siblings, single couples, and children with engaged as single couples with children and engaged couples. There are also a week where the cast of Different Strokes played for a designated couple, as well as one in which two different celebrity teams played for charity each day. Where in the celebrity version, in the celebrity episodes, basically winning the bonus round gave the was basically $5,000 to charity. Okay, Kevin O'Connell. Okay, he took when Pat Sajak he got the job hosting Wheel of Fortune in 1981. Kevin O'Connell replaced Pat Sajak as the meteorologist for KNBC in Los Angeles. And then shortly afterwards, he wound up getting a hosting gig for another game show called Go that wound up airing on NBC during this time. He stopped by on the Halloween 1983 episode of Dream House. Kevin O'Connell, after that show didn't last very long, but I know Kevin O'Connell best for being a meteorologist for WGRZ TV, which was the local NBC affiliate for Buffalo, New York, my native town. Let's go, Buffalo! Okay, so like right after Kevin O'Connell hosted Go and the show was taken off the air, he went back to meteorology and landed a long-term gig with WGRZ, and he did quite a good job with it too. Okay, Bob Eubanks' jubilant catchphrase when the couple won the house: "You have just won your dream house." Two versions of the theme music were used during the run. Rod Roddy announced the pilot episode, which had a slightly different bonus round format, and also borrowed music from The Price is Right and the famous pyramid clock from the $25,000 pyramid. Okay, Rod Roddy would also go shortly after doing the pilot. Uh, Rod Roddy at the time he was doing a game, he was doing a TV show. I'll explain that in a little bit. Okay, so the audience for Dreamhouse was modest at best during the show's run, with the end coming on June 29, 1984. The series did end on a positive note. Bob Eubanks stated that he wanted to give away a house on the very last show, and sure enough, he did just that. The show's final couple, on their third attempt, won their dream house with a combination of 734, and after showing the combination to the audience and viewers, Eubanks threw the packet up in the air and gave a Howard Dean-esque "Yeah! Yeah!" before the commercial. Eubanks closed the final episode, seated in the studio audience, along with model Debbie Bartlett and announcer Johnny Gilbert, bidding farewell with a positive message, saying, "In this business, we never say goodbye. We simply say, we'll see you next time." Okay? Now, when Dreamhouse first hit the air, it replaced another game show called Hitman that premiered in January of '83 and only ran for 13 weeks. That show was hosted by Peter Tamarkin and announced by Rod Roddy. You basically had three contestants who would basically they would watch two videos. Um, First video would correspond to the first half, and the second video would correspond to the second half. Once the videos were shown, they were asked questions about the videos. And then whoever wound up winning the game and went to the bonus round, they were asked questions over both of the videos that were shown. Due to copyright issues, Hitman is not, even though all the episodes of Hitman are reportedly still in existence, you're not going to find Hitman on the Game Show Network or Buzzer or anywhere else in general, because many of the videos that were used for Hitman are copyrighted, and they were licensed to for a one-time viewing only, and it would require a shitload of copyright clearance in order for them to hit the rerun circuit. Okay, but Rod Rodney and Peter Tamarkin would reunite with each other a few months later on CBS for a 3-year run of Press Your Luck. Okay, after Dreamhouse came to it, wound up taking the 11. It wound up airing from 11:30 a.m. Eastern, 10:30 a.m. Pacific time slot. Okay, when the show left the air in 1984, it was replaced by Scrabble, which would be hosted by Chuck Woolery from 1984 through 1990. Originally co-produced with Don Reed by Group W Productions, Lowmore Television, which is now known as Warner Bros. Television, replaced Group W as producers of Dreamhouse in November 1983 and continued on until the final episode on June 29, 1984. Okay? So Dreamhouse premiered at 10:30 a.m. Eastern, 10:30 Central Time slot on April 4th, 1983, replacing Hitman. Okay. Airing opposite the second half of the highly rated CBS game show The Price is Right on CBS and the ABC soap opera Loving, which premiered 3 months later, the series ran for a total of 1.25 years. Final episode aired on June 29, 1984. 3 days later, NBC began airing a television adaptation of Scrabble, which would occupy the 11:30 a.m. time slot for the first 3 of its nearly 6-year run. Alright, so basically, Dreamhouse wound up falling victim to The Price is Right. Okay? After all, let me tell you something else. For those of you who watched my concentration review, The Price is Right with Bob Barker pretty much killed the NBC version of Concentration. Okay? Concentration had been on for like 14, 15 years. The Price is Right killed it. Alright? And Dreamhouse was no exception. Alright? Price is Right was a force to be reckoned with. Just like Johnny Carson was a force to be reckoned with on late night. You go up against them, you're going to get slaughtered. Simple as that. And it was a miracle that Dreamhouse wound up lasting as long as it did. Now here's for where is the show now? And how come the show has never been aired on TV since? Okay. So, I don't know where to start, guys. And this may be a little emotional. Kind of a little emotional to me, and it may be emotional to some of you other game show fanatics out there. But the Game Show Network had tried for many, many years throughout the 90s and even into the 2000s to get their hands on Dreamhouse. They're trying to figure out where did the show go, how can they get their hands on it. They had a huge interest on rerunning the show on their network. Okay? There was no response throughout the show. Basically, they had tried numerous occasions. There was no response. Okay? On Saturday, June 27th, on Saturday, July 27th, 2013, okay, approximately 10 years to the date of the premiere of this video, we got the official word. Through a Facebook post by the Museum of Television and Radio. Okay? It was confirmed, alright? When the show ended its run in 1984, NBC shipped all 395 episodes of Dreamhouse to the producer's estate, Don Reed. Okay, and I believe he lived up in upstate New York, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, he wound up storing them in his house, particularly his basement, along with the music and other production materials for the show. Okay, on July 27th, 2013, Facebook post was made by the Museum of Television Radio that stated the exact following. Just confirmed that all 395 episodes from the 1983-84 Dreamhouse videotape masters were destroyed in a flood with production material slash music. What? Are you fucking kidding me? So, we don't know exactly when this flood broke. Between the time the show ended in 1984 and its announcement in 2013, a flood had broken out through the producer's estate and it wiped out the entire show's run. All the tapes were ruined. So was all the other production material for the show. So, what does this mean? Dreamhouse will never again be seen on television and has become nothing but just a memory, especially for those who appeared on the show. Now, the only episodes of Dreamhouse that are known to survive as of right now are recordings that people had. They are VHS recordings that were recorded from a VCR during the show's initial run from 83 to 84. Okay? And there's probably about a dozen, at least a dozen episodes of the show that have hit the air or that have been loaded onto YouTube. All right? For public viewing. All right? So that's all that we know right now. All right? If anybody knows more about this story, like exactly when Dreamhouse got wiped out, okay? Okay, we don't know exactly when it happened, but that's when it was announced was in 2013. But if anybody knows more about this story, please let us know below, okay? So you're probably wondering, there's a lot of questions here. Why didn't Don Reed keep the tapes at the NBC studios in Burbank in storage in the tape vaults? Why didn't he pursue a storage unit of his own to store the tapes in? Why would he just store them in his basement? All right. There's a lot of questions here. Okay. But there's probably one thing I can definitely say about, okay, all this. There is no question in my mind. Don Reed was trying to do everything he possibly could to, in order to keep the show alive. Okay? Throughout the 60s and 70s, and even going into the mid 80s, NBC was known to wipe out their daytime programming once and done. All right? All three major networks, okay, especially through the 60s and even into the 70s, they were known to, once the show originally aired, the tapes would stay for so long and then they would get reused. Especially when the networks didn't have much money and the tapes were extremely expensive. Okay? The network contacted Reed of exactly what he wanted to do with the tapes. It's going to cost you so much to store them in our vaults, and Reed decided, I'm going to take them with me, all right, and not have to worry about paying storage, all right. NBC was known to, even though it was known That NBC had stopped their wiping practices by 1980. They were known to continue wiping out their game shows going into as far as the mid 80s. Okay, how do I know this? All right, Daytime Wheel of Fortune. I read somewhere online where they contacted a representative from Merv Griffin's Enterprises that stated that they didn't really keep records of Daytime Wheel of Fortune through. They didn't start keeping archives of the Daytime Wheel of Fortune until as far as 1985. And yet somehow Vanna White's first official episode from December 1982 survived in in superb quality. All right, that episode at the Vanna White's first episode of Wheel of Fortune made it onto the Game Show Network in 2007 when Merv Griffin passed away and the network's paying homage by airing a bunch of rare episodes of Wheel of Fortune. Vanna White's first episode from December 82 was one of those episodes. Another one was Pat Sajak's final episode of the daytime version in January of 89. There is also one Chuck Woolery episode that surprisingly survived erasure, particularly for the way a contestant tried to solve a puzzle. The puzzle was called Kill the Umpire, but a contestant guessed Kill the Vampire. And I'm guessing they kept the episode for a future episode of bloopers or something like that. And the episode was completely forgotten about. Sale of the Century, another show to be known for. Okay, believed many a huge chunk of the daytime version is believed to have been wiped as well. Red Grundy Productions, who produced Sale of the Century, they said they had in recent years they confirmed that they had a total of 850 to 900 episodes of Sale of the Century in their archives. Okay, we don't know if this also includes the nighttime version that aired in syndication from January 85 to the summer of 86, or if this is just for daytime version. But there was at least 1,000 or 2,000 there was at least 1,000 episodes, if not 1,500 or 2,000, that aired on NBC daytime television. So not everything survived. Okay. So Don Reed, he was afraid NBC that if he left the show, if he kept his master tapes of Dreamhouse in the Burbank vaults, he was afraid that they would fall victim to this tape erasure practices that the networks had been practicing for so long. So that's why he took it with him. And for those of you wondering why wouldn't he settle for a storage unit? Storage units pose the same risk as storing them in your home. All right? They're not guaranteed to remain safe. And depending on what kind of storage unit you get and what part of the country you're in, no guarantee whether or not it's going to have it's going to be that storage unit will be climate controlled. If it's not climate controlled, okay, because I know out here in Arizona, okay, I wound up getting a storage unit during the time when I was moving apartments, and the storage unit was not climate controlled at all. Okay, most storage units that I came across were not climate controlled at all, and with the scorching heat and stuff, that would be enough to destroy the film for the master recordings by itself. Okay, you have to keep the stuff in a climate controlled environment. And that's probably why he decided to keep. And even though storage units were not guaranteed to be climate controlled, he figured by storing in his house, it would remain climate controlled. But unfortunately, a flood came through. Now we don't know if it was from a storm or if it was from a broken water heater or what, but they're all gone. And it's such a shame. Okay? And, okay, there is one thing I do know is that in 1984, around the same time Dreamhouse was on the air, the BBC, British Broadcasting Corporation, one of the main networks in the United Kingdom, they were doing a documentary on American game shows. The Price is Right made a wide variety of. Okay, Price is Right was a frequent show they wound up showing clips from. But another show they wound up showing clips from was Dreamhouse. They even went as far as interviewing at least one of the couples who had won who had won a house from the show. They even showed some superb quality clips from that Dreamhouse show. Okay. Now I'm not sure if the documentary still exists. Well, it has been shown on YouTube, but we don't know if the original copy of that still exists. But it's probably the closest we're ever going to get to a superb quality print of the Bob Eubanks version of Dreamhouse. Okay? There is one question I do have. All right? And this is directed to Bob Eubanks, who is the host of this show. Does he know? All right. First, I have a couple questions. First of all, what was his experience? What did he? How? What was his personal experience working with the show? Now, I know he hated hosting trivia game shows. What was his personal experience with his show? But the one question I really have for him, if you're watching, Bob, what? Okay, okay. What is your reaction? Okay, does Bob Eubanks know if his master recordings for Dreamhouse were wiped out in the flood? All right, and if so, what's his reaction to it? That's a show that he had hosted for over a year, completely wiped out for no one else to see. All right. Were you a contestant on the show? Have you seen the show? If you have, so leave comments below, and feel free to share your experiences. Okay. Until the next time we meet, Mr. Wildcat is reminding each and every one of you to be good, be careful, and behave. But I am going to sign off in the same way that Bob Eubanks signed off his final episode of Dreamhouse. Mr. Wildcat is, until the next time we meet, we will not say goodbye, but instead we will simply say, we'll see you next time. Take care, guys.